Hello and welcome back to Down East Cards. Today I've got a different kind of video for you guys. These are some of my favorite vintage cards and others that, connect to the past. First, I guess I'll start with my only PSA card I have. So PSA 3 of Alkaline, Mr. Tiger. I grew up in the South and, of course, like the Braves, but another team, for some reason, I don't know if it's their uniforms or Ty Cobb or, something about the Tigers really, stands out to me. And I just like the Tigers for some reason. I think it's Tiger Stadium and their uniforms and how simple they are and everything. But, so I bought this and, I thought it'd be cool to have Mr. Tiger be my first PSA card. As you'll see, this is a 63 tops, number 25 in a set. And I just thought it was a really nice looking, clean looking 3. And I don't spend money on cards really that much, but I figured I might just grab at least one PSA card. This one right here, to its right, is a card I've had since I was about 11. It's a card that my uncle gave to me when I was starting collecting cards, and he had a bunch of really good cards, and then the ones that he didn't care to keep, he let my brother and I rummage through them and split them up. This is one of the ones that I got. It was a Richie Allen. Of course, I didn't know who he was back then. He would end up calling himself Dick Allen, so it's a pretty good card here. It's a pretty good shape. This is the one I would actually send to PSA or somewhere to have graded, for one, increase its value, but also just to have it encased for all times. Along with that, I also received from my uncle his Juan Marichal card. He had a lot of 64s. Pretty much all the cards he had were from 1960 to 1967 or so, 68. He did have a Nolan Ryan rookie card. He did not part with that one. So, no surprise. Anyway, I didn't know who Juan Marichal was back then either, but I think these two ended up being the most valuable cards out of the bunch that I have. And about half of the cards I got from him were 1964s. This 1964 I actually bought at the local card show. Again, another Tiger, very famous Tiger. And again, I didn't buy it for its great condition, but it has good, his face and the majority of the card looks really, really good to me. Like, there's rounded corners, obviously, but I kind of take that for granted with 60s cards. What I really would want when I'm buying these vintage cards is a clean picture and no crease through the middle. Little creasing on the corners isn't that big of a deal to me. So that's 64 Mickey Walich, and then behind it, let me go over here to Ralph Kiner first. So this is my first. I didn't have any 50s cards. So I bought this 1955 Bowman, and I liked his pose, and I'd actually heard of Ralph Kiner before. Unfortunately, it does have this, it's not even small enough to say it's a pinhole for a thumbtack, but it looks like it was nailed up to a wall with a nail hole. Anyway, I just thought it was a cool card. I got these in a cheap vintage bin that I saw at a local card show, and so I decided to pick up some vintage stuff. But the back is readable around the edges and corners and things, but that's not a big deal. I mean, I do wish it didn't have that big hole right here. That's what brings it down for me. But I just thought it was cool that 1955 was when they had the TV cards, because when I think of 1955, I think about Back to the Future, and that's when George's dad got TV and rolled it into the dining room.
Look at it roll! Now we can watch Jackie Gleason while we eat.
So here's the first of, I probably start buying some more Enos Slaughter, but I actually didn't know he was from North Carolina, so that was cool. The guy told me at the card show. And so this is my first Enos Slaughter card. Another one from the 1950s. In this case, it's 57. And he had a long career in St. Louis, and then you'll see here he's from Roxborough. But I thought it was cool because I'd heard of Enos Slaughter growing up, and I didn't know he was from North Carolina. Another North Carolinian, probably one of the two most famous players, or three, including Slaughter's Gaylord Perry. I really like this card. So close up. And I'd seen this year of card before. It's relatively early in his career, 1968. But he's from Williamston, which is from the eastern part of the state, like me. I just thought it was a cool looking card. I'll probably end up getting his rookie card. This Catfish Jim Hunter, which on the card is just Jim Hunter here. I think it's a second year card. I thought it might have been, he's from Hertford, but I thought it might have been his rookie card, but apparently he had enough innings pitched that 64 year to make that his rookie year. Anyway, I'll be collecting more of Catfish in the future. Here's another one of his cards that I have. I really like this design. And this might be the first one where it has his nickname Catfish on it. I'm not sure. I have to look that up. It's a couple years later, 67. But this is a nice looking, again, something I bought from a bin that you kind of just look through, and they're not in great shape, but this one actually is centered enough, and it only had rounded corners really, and some small edge things. For the most part, the card itself within the borders looked really good to me. That's why I got that one. Anyway, those are some of my vintage cards. In connection with that, I have these, which I thought was really cool. I didn't, like I said before, I've started watching baseball again in the past several months, and obviously when I heard there was a guy named Yastrzemski, I was like, well, he's got to be Carl's grandson, right? So yeah, that's the case. And so my favorite kind of cards to buy are Topps Heritage. So I saw they had a Topps Heritage card last year in 25. Hopefully I'll end up getting his rookie card in Topps Heritage style. But then I was like, wow, his dad played too, and I got one of his cards. This is one of the better ones, the better looking ones I found. You kind of can see some family resemblance in those three guys, but I don't think he played in the majors. I don't think he had a Major League Baseball card, which is why I don't have that. I think that's the reason why I didn't get a Major League card. But or that might have been the best looking card that he did have I could find. And here is, which I really enjoyed, was the fact that the same style card with grandfather and grandson. I thought it was really cool to have both of them together. So the actual 76 card here, going along with the facsimile 2025 card, I thought was pretty neat. See Carl here, 5'11", 188, born in 39, and Mike, 5'11", 180, born in 90. So 50, about 50 years later. That was pretty neat. The same height, almost the same weight. And then let's see, it says much about. And he's also 5'11", 180. It's kind of nuts, 1961. Right, it's kind of in the middle there. But I thought it was really cool. I was hoping that Mike would have had, you know, a Topps card, but I didn't find one. But the fact that the grandfather and the grandson have the same card is pretty neat to me. So I have that. And I also have probably could be my favorite modern card. Maybe you'll see why. So here's the true photo version of Spencer Torkelson's 25 Topps card. I mean, this to me aesthetically is the best looking, most dynamic, contrasting photograph I've seen so far in modern baseball. And I think it's also the fact that, you know, he just has this kind of old school vintage baseball look to him. And, you know, he's not super like buff, athletic. He's not like skinny and lean. He's kind of like that middle, almost kind of stocky, kind of old school baseball player. And he's got the old Detroit Tigers uniform on. It just, to me, it is like an exquisite card. So I had to get this one. Of course, I've got the base card, but I kind of like have them set up where the present day, the true photo, represents the present, and then the past is like the sepia, which kind of reminds me of an older photo, although it's got the chrome around the outside. It's still sepia. Kind of reminds me of the olden times. That's the past. And the future has the colorful, you know, kind of color matched a bit look to this. There's a blue foil card, but I mean, I think they all look great in their own way. Of course, I do have, you know, more love for the true photo on its own, but I really liked it so much that I got these other these parallels. Yeah, it's just, to me, I just love the way the shadows fall, and just a fantastic looking piece of art. Like, I literally look at this as a piece of art. You know, whoever took this at just the right time and adjusted it and editing just did a fantastic job. But anyway, guys, that's a little something different. There's some cards that I've collected. I do things kind of in a different way. I'm not a value first collector. I'm more of a sentimental, aesthetic collector, I would say. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.